Okay. Good morning to Zooming students. I have two additional problems up here on the whiteboard. I'm going to move my desk over so you can see
Good morning and happy Friday, Manchester Intermediate School. Today is Friday, August 28th, and at this time, will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing at this time for a moment of silence. You may be seated. On the lunch menu today, we will be having mini corn dog, veggie crunchers, fresh watermelon, and milk. And as always, there will be a salad choice and PB&J option as well. A couple of additional announcements. A reminder that Yes, it is. Next Friday will be School Picture Day. Thank you, Ms. Herman. If you have your picture forms, you'll need to remember to bring those back. Dress your best and bring your best smile on Friday, September 4th. Also, for those volleyball players, you should receive a schedule this afternoon of practices and games. You will need to check that schedule to see when your next practice is. There will be practices beginning Monday for those teams on the schedule. Again, you will be getting a schedule this afternoon before you leave. Make sure you check the schedule to see when your next practice will be. Your weather forecast today for beautiful Licton, Indiana. It is 74 degrees and partly cloudy for now. However, there is a chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. Hope we get some rain. The grass could really use it. And today's fact of the day comes to us from Mr. Noah Pinkerton. And Noah wants everyone to know that Hawaii moves 2 inches every year. Bonus fact of the day, courtesy of the Bobby Bones Show this morning. When Smucker's makes their Uncrustable sandwiches, they actually use an entire piece of bread and they cut it out in the mold. These spare scraps of bread are then given to farms for feed for the animals. I thought that was interesting. Make it a fabulous Friday.
Okay, so anybody has anything needs to go to the office, notes, lunch money, anything like that? Okay. Math Minute 11, you add these two, just add them on the Math Minute at the bottom, bring up a blank page, add it wherever you can find room for it, okay? All right? Those of you at home, can you see the board? Somebody give me a thumbs up. Thank you. All right, I'm coming, Mallory. All right, and while I'm doing attendance, you guys should, on your folders, on Friday week 3, have page 27 and 28 listed, and your folder should be tucked in your book on page 27 and 28. So when you're working on that Math Minute, I can come around and check that. It's right up there on the board. All right, to all of you who are virtual, a reminder that we have 2 more problems up here to add to your Math Minute. You have Test Tutor due today, you have Problem Solving due today, and you have Math Writing due today. Make sure you submit those to me today so that I can get those graded. I only had 1 student submit their assignment to me by 8 o'clock this morning. Folks, I do not have the capabilities of seeing your assignments during class. You have to have them submitted to me by 8 o'clock. Only 1 person did that today. Lily, do you have a question? Dante, I've noticed you've tried to get in several times. I've been trying to let you in. I don't know if you're having technical difficulties today. There are 2 problems to add to the Math Minute today, and your 3 papers are due today: Test Tutor, Problem Solving, and Math Writing.
Mrs. Allen,
Yes,
while I waited to get into class, I did my Math Minute.
that's fine.
The only one I didn't do was number 9 because I couldn't solve it.
That's fine. There's 2 more problems up here on the board you need to do then, Dane. Okay? You see them? I'll be with you in a minute. Marcus, I need you to have your video on. Hayden, I need you to have your video on. You guys told her I haven't been to? All right, we need to take a look at our answers to our math minute at this time. Number one, what did we come up with for our standard form? Standard form. Standard form. Standard form, what'd you come up with? Peyton.
831,894.
831,894, is that what you said? Okay. Number two, 10 times 5, everybody?
50.
50. Number three, what was your difference? Your difference. Your difference. Diana?
828.
800 what?
28.
Ooh, not quite, not quite. You're very close, very close. Adam?
838.
838 is correct, yes, 838. And number four, what's it mean to be a prime number? What's it mean to be a prime number? Andra? Yes, the only factors are 1 in itself, 1 in itself, 1 in itself. Is it a prime number? Is it a prime number? Yes, it is. Number 5, 36 divided by 6, everybody?
6.
Is 6. Number 6, if we have 15 centimeters, and there are 10 millimeters in every centimeter, how many millimeters would we have?
1.5.
Not 1.5.
150.
150. How do you come up with that 150?
Because to the right of it, it says 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, and then 50 centimeters, so every 1 centimeter, you would add 10 to the millimeter.
Okay, so every one of these is 10 times more. So if there's 10 times more, we would move it 1 to the right, making it 150. 150. And number 7, we have the sum of 7 and 5 that we are going to add another 9 to. What do we have to do first in that one? First, Piper.
Add 7 and 5.
And 12 and 9 gives us, Wayne?
21.
21. Thank you. And number 8, it's an equation. What does the word difference tell us? What does the word difference tell us? Diana? So we would have 86 minus 42 equals n, or you could have 86 minus 42 equals what? Pardon?
44.
44. I would accept either of those for the equation. Okay? And number 9, what is that shape? What is that? Well, whatever, the object.
Well, I said 5.
It's a line because it has arrows at both ends. It has arrows at both ends. And number 10, if 1 kilogram is 1,000 grams, 15 kilograms is how many grams? Eduardo. 15,000. 15,000. Okay? And then number 11, we need 2 other forms for that. 2 other forms for that. What's one form? What's one form?
5,000 plus 3,000. No, 500,000 plus 3,000.
Yes, but let's do it using multiplication by the place value. Multiplication by the place value. 5 times what? What's the place value of the 5?
50,000.
What's the place value? What's the place value? 10,000. So 5 times 10,000 plus. What would be next? What would be next? Quickly. Valerie.
2,000.
But let's use a multiplication here. 2 times what?
2 times 1,000.
2 times 1,000. Good. Plus. What would be next? Valerie?
7 times 10.
7 times 10. Plus. What would be next?
8 times 1.
8 times 1. Good. All right. What is the other form we could write? What is the other form we could write? This is standard form. This is expanded form. What's the third form? Finley? Word form. What's the word form for this? Yep. Notice the hyphens that are in there. Notice where this comma is. Number 12, what's the value of the 8 in 58,621? What's the value of the 8? The value of the 8. Cesar? 8,000. Questions? Anybody? Okay, quickly get that recorded and put away. Any questions from home? There is page 27. Please check over your answers on page 27. Sophia, I don't see you again today. Lily, where are you? There you are. Thank you. Yes, your question, Ezra? Yes. Any questions for me on page 27? 27. Anybody from home question on page 27? Okay. Twenty-eight. Anything on one? Two? Three. How do we come up with this 125 pallets? What do we need to do? What work should we have shown for that? Division. The 625 divided by 5. How about number 4? How do we come up with that 125 joules? Evan? Okay. So you took 100 out and split it 4 ways, 5 different times. Okay. And then added up those 25s. Good. How else could we have done it? Okay, we'll go back to that in a minute. Let's go on with number 4. What else could we have done for that one?
So I could find a quarter at 500, the quarter 500 is 25.
So you divided it? Okay, good. All right. And then I really liked what you did because you didn't do that long division, but you thought of another way that would work out for you because long division wasn't something that you felt comfortable with. But you found another way to do it, even though long division would have been maybe the shortest way that most people would have found. But you took 5 groups of 100. I want to explain that one to everybody because not everybody would have thought that way. You took 5 groups of 100, right? Am I correct in what you're doing? I'm going to put these over here. And you said that you knew that in each of those 5 groups of 100, there were 4 groups of 25, right? Is that what you did? And for each of those, you did 25s, right?
So I split up 100, so this is 125 is going to be 100.
So you knew that this would be one of them. Is that what you're saying?
125 is going to 100.
So you knew it would happen 5 times. So you did 25 times 5 then to get your 125. But you knew it would occur 5 times, so you look at it that way. Okay? All right, good. Okay, a little bit different thinking than just taking that 500 divided by 4. Good. Okay? But not everybody would have thought of it in that pattern, so that's a different way of thinking about it. Good. Okay. Anybody else? Okay, down here at number 5. How do we come up with the 2,000 straws? How do we come up with the 2,000 straws? Mallory?
500 times 4.
Okay. And how about number 6? How do we get the 40 times? Ezra?
You got to put in 4 times 10 equals 40.
Okay, 4 times 10. Any questions on those? Okay. Eduardo, let's go back to your number 2. Yes?
I keep saying 2.
Okay, let me ask you this. If I ask you how many pieces of paper we needed to hand out, would you tell me 10 cubes? Okay. So when they're asking very specifically how many, they're looking for a standard number. Okay? If you're asking for it as in exponent form, then you would tell me something like 10 cubes. Okay? Does that make sense? Good question. Anything else? Anybody? All right. Put your book aside, get out lined paper, because we're going to do some review today. Those of you at home, make sure you have paper out for some notes. First thing I would like for you to do is, can you write down the 4 different properties that we have talked about? Can you just write down the 4 different properties, the name of them? Yep, just the name of them. It'd be nice if you did. Do your best.
What?
Just the name of the 4 properties. Just the name of them. All I want. All right. What are our 4 properties we've worked with? What's one of them? The community property. What does the community property tell us we can do?
We can switch around the way that numbers go. To go 5, 4, 3, so we can make it to 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, so we can change the order in addition and multiplication. Only in addition and multiplication. Okay, what's another property? The distributed property. And with the distributed property, we talked about being able to distribute multiplication over addition, right? Okay? So we talked about rows, right? Like 8 rows of 3 and 4, right? 8 rows of 3 and 8 rows of 4. And hopefully those pictures helped you out. Okay? So the distributed property. And Adam, what's another one?
Identity.
The identity property. We have the identity property of addition. And when we have the identity property of addition, what are we adding? What are we adding, Diana?
Like the 8 and the 1. It's still in.
The 8 plus 1.
No, wait. No. 8 plus 0.
8 plus 0. So we're adding 0 to any amount. We're adding 0. And what's the identity property of multiplication? Somebody from home. Somebody from home. Identity property of multiplication. Somebody from home. How about Dante? Do you know the identity property of multiplication? What would we have been multiplying by? Dante, can you unmute and tell us what we would be multiplying by? Do you remember?
No,
How about Aiden?
because I was reading this.
Okay, Aiden, do you remember what we'd be multiplying by for the identity property of multiplication? Aiden, unmute yourself.
I was reading the thing down below.
Zane, how about you? Do you remember? Identity property of multiplication. What would we be multiplying by? Can you unmute yourself? Do you remember? Identity property of multiplication? Nope. All right, somebody here in class, somebody here in class. Peyton. Uh-huh. We're multiplying by 1. It doesn't change how much we have. Good. So we hit all 4 of them? No, we've only hit 3 of them. We've got 1 more to go. Kaylin. The associative property. What does the associative property tell us we can do? Eli? What? I can't hear you. Can you take your mask down so I can hear you, please? Switch what? Tells us we can switch the groups. Yes, tells us we can switch our groupings. So we can group different numbers together, and we can switch different numbers, our groupings together, but we still get the same sum or the same product. Okay? So those are our properties that we've been working with. All right? We will continue working with those properties. We've got this little wrap for you to hear. Lights, camera, action. Here we go. Take a good look at the parentheses. Here's 1 and 2. But over there, 2 and 3. Somebody the way it gets the same old thing. Pay attention to these powerful things y'all play. Somebody's a bucket. Somebody's a bucket. This is the best your jump in. Remember that the unit is rotating, but it's just a change in order. It's the same result. It works if you add it, if you multiply. You can do this even if you're just a little guy. 5 times 2 is the same as 2 and 5. The unit is what you've got to do to survive. Somebody's a bucket. Somebody's a bucket. This is the best your jump in. This is kind of like a number game. 4 minutes outside, that's just doing. We need another way to deal with quantities. So we multiply by all the different parentheses. But that's really easy when they add a subtract and the output when they multiply to be there. Somebody's a bucket. Somebody's a bucket. This is the best your jump in. Let's discuss the properties of identity. It's like a check when you pass to security. You really want the numbers to stay the same, so what kind of counts are added, so I don't say the same. You multiply by 1 to keep the same amount. 0 is when you add, so you don't keep count. Somebody's a bucket. Somebody's a bucket. This is the best your jump in. So every property can be math, but to learn to be and mathematical adding. With addition, all you do is add the opposite. There's times when you shift the ball. Oh, we're not going to do those. Give you 0, what times you give you 1. Stop that, because we're not doing those. Okay? All we need is those first ones. Okay? All right? All right. Okay. Today, though, we are going to practice some more with our distributed property because that was our last one. And we need a little bit more practice with it. It is tends to be the more complicated one, but it is the one that as you go higher in math, that it becomes more automatic and gets used a lot with variables, the letters. Would you please turn the lights back on, Andra? And our piece of paper should be front and center now. All right. So when we left off with the distributed property the other day, we did things like, I think it was, I don't know, 42 times 3 or something like that. And I said, how could we split up 42? And Adam?
40 and 2.
Yeah, 40 plus 2 multiplied by 3. And I don't know if these were exact numbers, there was something close to that. Okay? All right? And then we talked very briefly about how we could rewrite this using the distributed property, because we know that this means we have 3 groups of 40 and we have 3 groups of 2, right? Okay? So we have 3 groups of 40 and we have 3 groups of 2. So we can rewrite it as 3 groups of 40 and we have 3 groups of 2. Okay? So your pencil should be moving. Bless you. So this would have been our 3 rows, right? This would have been our 3 rows of 40 and 3 rows of 2, right? Does that make sense? Yes, no? So our picture would have looked like three rows this way and 40 that way, 3 this way, and only 2 that way, right? And we would have added them together. Yes? Does that make sense? Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. So we did the 40 plus 2 here. Or we did the 3 times 40 there, 3 times 2 there. Does that make sense? Those are our 2 options. Okay. Do you see where we get all of our pieces from? Okay. Question. First off, how can we split that apart? Hayden? That sum multiplied by 8. How can we rewrite it now using the distributive property? How did you rewrite it using the distributive property? Eduardo? Plus what? There we go. Great. walking around, looks like mosquitoes. Okay. All right. Are we good with that? Okay. All right. How about if I gave you this one? How can you rewrite that using the distributive property? Ooh, I'm getting some ugly looks. Like, what are you doing this now? Somebody's squinty eyes. Piper, what would you do?
Maybe like do 12 times 3 and then add 12 times 6.
Oh, all you've done there is the commutative property. Change the order. I don't want the commutative property. Good thought, though. Good thought. All you did was switch the order. Okay? Kaylin, what would you do?
Well, there's 2 12, so that will tell us that, that number is just going to stay the same. And then you take 6 and 3 and put it.
Okay. So I had 12 rows. Do you see that? 12 rows. Of 6. And 12 rows of 3. Remember that? Okay. So my picture would look like 12 by 6 and 12 by 3. If it helps to draw your picture first, draw your picture, and then maybe you can see this business. Does that make sense? Okay. Adam, did you get this written down? Audrey, did you get it written down? How about this one? What would you do with that one? All right, what do you think you need to do for this one? What do you think you need to do for this one? Eduardo. That was kind of a cop out right there, buddy. Nice try, but I'm not going to let you get by with that. Can you be more specific, please? 5 times the sum of 8 plus 2. What would the picture look like for this one? What would the picture look like?
5 would be at the very bottom part, and then 8 and 2 would be at the top part.
Okay, so 5 rows of 8 and 5 rows of 2. Good. All right. Questions on the distributive property? Just like what we've been doing, huh? That was just a cop-out. Questions? Okay. Your study time today. Make sure you have your test tutor completed and turned in. Make sure your math writing is completed and turned in. Make sure that your problem solving is completed and turned in. Your new assignment is a distributive property. Okay? There are 12 problems on there for you to complete. If you've been following along with this should go boom, 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 boom. Okay? Many of you already have the 3 things that are due on Friday turned in. You were asking me when you were done with the math, what do I do next? Because you already have your things done because you've used your time wisely throughout the week. That's kind of the expectation throughout the week. You just keep plugging away at things, using your class time wisely and getting things done. So, with the time that you have left, if you've used your time wisely throughout the week, you're going to be able to get this done and don't have anything to take home over the weekend. Okay, that is my hope every week. All right? So, I'll get this passed out, but you need to have your things turned in. It isn't, oh, I didn't get it all done, Mrs. Allen. I hope you accept everything next week sometime when I feel like turning it in. No, it's due today. It is due today. There are deadlines for a reason. A deadline is a deadline is a deadline. The job is due today. Does everybody understand that? Okay? Eduardo, you have a question. If you're given study time in Flux, yes. But there's no guarantee you're given study time in Flux. There's trays over there. There's your drop-off spot. Okay? But there's no guarantee you have study time in Flux. You know? Okay? All right? Audra.
If we don't put in the papers, it's basically like the adult having a job and not doing their job.
Exactly. You don't get paid, or you get docked in pay, or whatever. Okay? Or you can end up getting fired. I'm serious, you can. You aren't going to keep a job if you keep not getting your job done on time. Okay? Right. All right. Those of you at home, yours are due to me today as well. That means you have to do the turn-in. But it has to be clear what you're doing. I can't have something sloppy that I can't read. Okay? Dante, you have a question.
Do we have any homework?
Yes. The distributed property practice worksheet I sent to you in Google Classroom.
And that's it?
That's it. It is due to me before 8 o'clock on Monday. There was only one student who turned in their work to me today before 8 o'clock. Nobody else turned in their assignment from virtual students. That needs to come to an end, folks. That is your responsibility to turn in your assignments. I saw one person's assignment. Thank you very much to that student who's being responsible. The rest of you need to step it up. That's your job.